In this movie, we'll talk about an animation technique called onion skinning. If you're following along, I'm in 07_onion_skinning.fla in the Chapter 4 folder in the Exercise Files folder. On the stage, we have the background layer, which is locked, and the robot layer. And the robot layer has the stars and the robot, which is in a group. So if you're following along and don't have access to the exercise files, you can create the robot on one layer and put the robot in a group. What we're going to do is animate the robot walking from the left side to the right side of the stage. Onion skinning allows you to view multiple frames at a time, and that will help us to move the robot. Let's move the robot to the left side of the stage. Click the onion skin button at the bottom of the timeline. Notice that nothing happens. That's because we only have one frame right now. The only thing that updates on the screen is some little markers appear at the top of the timeline. We'll talk about those in just a second. Select frame 2 of the robot layer and then press F6 on your keyboard to create a keyframe. Notice that you cannot see the background right now. That's because the background only has one frame, or it ends after frame 1. What we need to do is extend the timeline for the background layer so that the background layer will exist for several frames, for the length of this animation of the robot walking across the screen. So I'm going to click frame 5 of the background layer, and then press the keyboard shortcut F5 on my keyboard to insert a regular frame. And that extends the timeline to frame 5 for the background layer. Let's return to frame 2 of the robot layer, and we'll create our animation. The onion skin markers at the top of the timeline show you the range of frames that you'd like to view. This will make more sense as soon as we move the robot. What I'm going to do is deselect everything on the stage by clicking in the gray area off the stage. Then I'm going to move the robot to the right a little bit. Notice we can kind of see a shadow of the original robot, and that's the onion skin. And so we can use this onion skin as a guide in our animation. What I'm going to do now is click the Free Transform tool in the toolbar and rotate the robot a little bit. This will give the look that the robot is sort of stepping back and forth as the robot walks across the stage. Let's create another keyframe at frame 3 in the robot layer. Select frame 3, and then press F6 on your keyboard to create a new keyframe. Deselect everything on the stage by clicking in the pasteboard or the gray area off the stage. Click on the robot, move the robot to the right a little bit more, and then rotate the robot a little bit using the Free Transform tool. So you can see how the onion skin gives us that preview of our animation. Let's repeat this process and create keyframes on frame 4 and frame 5 and move the robot. Select frame 4 of the robot layer, press F6 on your keyboard to create a keyframe. Deselect everything by clicking in the gray area off the stage. Select and move the robot to the right a little bit. Rotate the robot a little bit. You may want to move the robot again just to space out each frame evenly. Notice that for my onion skin, I can only see the previous 2 frames. So I'm on frame 4. As shown in the timeline, I can see frame 3 and frame 2. And that's because of my onion skin markers. If you'd like to see frame 1, you can click the circular area of the left side onion skin marker and drag it back to frame 1. The onion skin markers specify the range of frames that you're viewing. So you have control at any time to move the onion skin markers to view a different range of frames. Select frame 5 of the robot layer, press F6 on your keyboard to create a new keyframe. Deselect everything by clicking in the gray area off the stage, select the robot on the stage, move it to the right a little bit, and rotate the robot a little bit. Once you're done using the onion skin feature, you want to make sure to turn off onion skinning. You can do that by clicking the onion skin button again at the bottom of the timeline. Notice all of the shaded figures or all of my onion skin robots that I've been looking at to set up my animation have now disappeared. So now let's test the movie and watch the robot walk across the screen using Command Return or Control Enter on the PC. It looks like the robot's moving a little too fast, so let's close this window and slow down the frame rate again. Make sure to deselect everything on the stage by clicking in the pasteboard or the gray area off the stage. Then in the Property Inspector, find the frame rate text field that's at the top right of the Property Inspector. Highlight the default frame rate, which is 12, change it to 3, and then deselect everything again by clicking in the pasteboard or the gray area off the stage. Now we've set the frame rate to be 3 frames per second. This will slow the animation down a lot. Test the movie again by pressing Command Return or Control Enter on the PC. And there's the robot walking across the screen. Nice, let's close that window. And so there's a look at how to use onion skinning.